Welcome everybody to the X Factor podcast today, and we're going to be talking about NXT, reviewing NXT, the stuff going around throughout the week. But I do want to start off because I didn't mention this the other day. My condolences to the Bushwhacker family. The Bushwhacker Butch has passed away at 78 years old. My condolences to his family, and we're gonna get right on and his legacy. In WWE, not WWE, in the ring, outside the ring, will be remembered forever. So, and Bushwhackers live forever. So, all right, we're gonna get right into it here with NXT. All right, actually, wait a minute here. All right, wait a minute. So first off, there's been some news with Vicky Guerrero and her daughter. I'm not gonna speak on any of that. Personally, because it's not my business, but I have seen people on Twitter ranting about it. So, if you guys don't know, apparently Vicky Guerrero's daughter has said that her stepfather has pretty much she's had to deal with sexual abusing and all that stuff, and pretty much Vicky Guerrero chose his side over hers, and then Vicky Guerrero responded with a bunch of stuff, and that just made it seem worse than the actual story. So, but we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about NXT. We're going to get right into it here because Indy Hartwell starts the show off, and she wanted to challenge Roxanne Perez. And, because, she was the champion, then she wasn't the champion, because, she came back, lost it. And, well, we haven't heard from Roxanne Perez since Stand and Deliver, so I feel like she's not going to be there for a while. I think she's taking time off. And Zoe Stark came out. And, well, like I just said, she said that we haven't heard from Roxanne. So, Zoe Stark challenged her, Indy Hartwell, to a match, and it was accepted. And then they had a match later on that night, which I'll get to in a little bit. Tony D'Angelo and Stax Lorenzo had a match against Pretty Deadly. And I know I said they're going to win the tag titles, but I feel like I know what they're doing now with them, with Stax and Tony. They're going to have them lose a couple matches because, they're going to make it seem like, well, they're not the big tag team. And I feel like later on, they're going to get right up there. By the way, I just wanted to let a notice here. I think this was the best NXT, or I bet this was way better than Raw. And I just want to say right now, on my Twitter, XFactorMG5654, the X and the MG are capitalized. I have started. There's a guy that I know who started a petition to get Vince McMahon fired. So if you guys would kindly sign that off, try to get him fired with the fire Vince stuff. Let's get right into it. Let's fire Vince McMahon. So I am full in on that. But right back to NXT here. Tony D'Angelo, Pretty Deadly. Started out the show. I thought they had a good match. I feel like with the 30 minutes of commercial free, I feel like they didn't waste it. And that's how I know Vince was not doing any stuff with NXT. Matt Bloom and Shawn Michaels, I'm pretty sure, are the only two people that are dealing with all that. And I'm pretty sure Bruce Pritchard, if he was down there, I don't think he'd make it sound that bad either, because he's not. I don't think he's that stupid. But if he is, then shame on him. But Pretty Deadly pretty much tricked him, put him under the apron stuff, and tricked him because they had the same attire. Pretty much a Nikki Bella Twins type of win right there at the end. Pretty Deadly ended up with the win. Good match. Dijak versus Odyssey Jones. Honestly, one of the matches I was looking forward to because of what happened with Odyssey Jones and Dijak last week. I thought it was I was like, let's go over again. A banger. Two big meaty men slapping meat type of matchup. Sadly, I didn't get to see the end of it. I didn't get to go check to see the end of it. I didn't really pay attention at that part. But for the most of the match, I thought it was pretty good. So, big meaty men slapping meat. Love it to see it. Dragon Lee versus Nathan Frazier. Let me tell you, that was before the match started. And first, I want to give a props to whoever did Dragon Lee's entrance, because whoever came up with the idea, they're amazing. Fucking love the entrance. And then before that, Noam Dar shows up. And for a second, I didn't realize who that was. And then he had the cup, and I'm like, Noam Dar has came to NXT. And, we haven't seen him since pretty much the NXT UK went down and all that. Great to see them. And you're pretty much saying, whoever wins, there's not many people worthy of having that shot. I think Dragon Lee and Noam Dar would be a great rivalry to start with. But Dragon Lee and Nathan Frazier, they had a banger match. Like, they were doing everything in their mind to make sure the crowd was not bored. And that's just one thing I love about NXT is when you got people like that, they can... And half of the NXT roster is better than the main roster guys sometimes. And, they just had banger matchups. And I was sitting here thinking last night, Noam Dar, was part of the 205 Live. See how he's doing right now with NXT UK and all this stuff right now. And how Dragon Lee and Nathan Frazier have to put up bangers. Another guy that I think that needs to go down to NXT and rebuild himself up is Cedric Alexander. Cedric Alexander, with his athleticism, would help with Dragon Lee, Nathan Frazier, Wesley, Axiom, Ilya Dragunov, JD McDonough, Carmelo Hayes, etc. More, and you can just keep bringing stuff out of the hat with Cedric Alexander. So if you put him in the NXT, let him rebuild himself back up, and then boom, right then and there. That'd be good. But Dragon Lee and Nathan Frazier, amazing matchup. Dragon Lee, of course, comes to win. And by the looks of it, we're getting Noam Dar and Dragon Lee rivalry, which I am all up for it. Alba Fire and Isla Dawn had a little backstage little segment, pretty much telling each other no one's gonna stop them, which I don't think that many people are going to in the upcoming months. Indy Hartwell and Zoe Stark had that match after. First off, I thought it was a good matchup. And I just gotta say one thing. NXT women's roster overall, I think, is a lot better than the WWE main roster women's stuff. And like, you can take half of the women's roster on NXT, and about 60 to 70% of them would be world champions. And if you take some of the people, like you can take people, and I'm not trying to take hate on Dana Brooke and all that, but she's her and Tamina, I think those are two people that need to go down to NXT. Rebrand themselves, rebuild themselves, and then boom. Get themselves back on the hype train. Get themselves back going, ready to go. So, but Indy Hartwell, Zoe Stark, great matchup. Indy Hartwell came up with a roll-up with the win, and then she's pretty much celebrating, and then Tiffany Stratton comes out, and I think, at the moment, I was like, okay, cool, we're gonna be banger matchups like that, and then boom, out of nowhere, Cora Jade comes back, and I was freaking out because I was legit just talking about her with my little brother and my mom, because my little brother was wondering where the hell she's been, and boom, she comes out and we freak out. So great to see Cora Jade back. Kiana James has finally admitted she was sleeping around with Jensen, with Brooks. My bad, Brooks. And, well, let's say Brooks is still trying to fall in love with her. I'm hoping that we get a Fallon Henley and Kiana James rivalry soon. So, but like I said, that's one of those rivalries that have been really good lately. So, that I think that, them two, I hope they put themselves in a big feud, because like the last couple months they've been building this up real big, so I could see something big coming out of it. Ivy Nile versus Tatum Paxley. First off, Ivy Nile, I did say a couple weeks ago I think she needed to get a little better, but after what I watched last night, I was wrong. She is just fucking like amazing. With her size, she can pretty much do a lot of the things that some women wrestlers can do. And like how muscular she actually is, it's crazy. But she ended with the win. Great win for them. I was hoping Roddy would come back, but that did not happen. Axiom versus Wesley, like I said, another banger. I thought the loser of the match would turn heel. I honestly did. I was wrong, obviously, but banger matchup. Wesley with the win. Scripps after the match comes out, and Axiom, boom, kicks him right in the fucking face when he jumps up. Axiom and Scripps in a rivalry, I think, is going to help Scripps a lot. I think it's going to help Scripps a lot more than Axiom. Because, Axiom, he's already built himself back. He's already built himself up to one of the main guys on NXT. But I think Axiom with Scripps, I think it's going to help Scripps a lot more. So, great to see that. And then Carmelo Hayes had his little party thing. And the end of it. And pretty much saying... He called out Bron Breakker. And, goes on saying, respect him. He's not the old Carmelo Hayes, pretty much hating. And, Bron Breakker said, Ciampa taught him after, it's the change of the torch, pretty much. And I was feeling a heel turn coming. It was either going to be Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams going after Carmelo, or Bron Breakker. And, we're waiting, and he goes in for a second handshake, comes out, and then Bron Breakker turns heel. And the crowd goes nuts. And I think the crowd liked it more that he turned heel. Because they were wanting him to spear Carmelo again. And that was just insane. I do think that's the best thing to do right now, was have him turn heel. And I think that's the best thing right now, is not have him go up to the main roster. Because I think it's Sean's opportunity to tell people who can go up or whatever. But I think with this whole Vince McMahon stuff, I think he's like, you know what? How about we not send everybody up right now? Because it would ruin a lot of people's careers in an instant. So, I don't know what the Vince McMahon stuff's going to hold. But I'm hoping he gets fired soon. Something. I just don't want him in the creative side of things. Keep him out of the creative. Because right now, his mind has been gone for years. He has personally been out of touch for years when it comes to creative stuff. Booking bullshit stuff, bullshit gimmicks. And don't get me started with the stuff he had in the 90s. Executioner. Those are some of the dumbest names I've ever heard in my life. But, that's all I pretty much got for today. Tomorrow I'm going to be reviewing Dynamite, the big announcement. I'm hoping it's going to be big. But talk to y'all later.